Today we're taking our old IKEA table and using paint stir sticks to turn it into this with a herringbone tabletop. What's up everybody? Time for another DIY project. Today, as you probably saw last week, we went ahead and made a new dining room table for ourselves, which means our old dining room table is ready to retire and have a new home. However, we got this from IKEA about 4 years ago, and we've pretty much been using it as our DIY table. So there is a lot of stains on here, lots of different weird markings. It's not the prettiest, but we do want to be able to still sell it on Facebook Marketplace and have it be a nice, great table for someone else. So we are going to redo and remake this table top at the very least, but kind of fun. We're going to be using paint stir sticks to make a wood pattern on the top of the table to really hide a lot of these different stained areas and just to give it a nicer tabletop finish. So very excited to start this project. I'm gonna go step by step on how we are going to use those paint stir sticks for the top pattern and just totally remake this table. What we're gonna need to do for this project, we have 200, this is not all 200, but we have 200 paint stir sticks. However, we need just this part, the nice flat straight part, not this part that has the curve, because we're not looking for, you know, that abstractness. So we have to cut all of the pieces right about here to take this part off. Now don't worry, I'm planning on using this part to be like little name tags for like gardens or something, but we'll find a use for the extra parts here. So we will save that. So what we need to do is I'm going to put a bunch of these together to save me a lot of time, and I'm going to put some painter's tape on there to make sure that it doesn't chip off as we cut through, to make sure we have a nice clean cut. And then I'm going to measure it to make sure I cut all of these at the same length. That is the plan, at least. Time to stir things up and get to cutting. Be safe out there, friends. Let's cut some stir sticks. Before I start sanding, I want to get these big pieces off with a chisel, so that's what I'm doing now. What we need to do now is find the middle of the table. That's where we're going to start our pattern. After you get your markings, go ahead and draw a line all the way down, and then I just wiped off the dust from the sanding. What I'm doing now is finding the center of these paint stir sticks, because you're going to want to align the center of the stir stick with the center of the table line. Now I'm just using a speed square to find the right angle that I want to use for my very first paint stick. Now we do the fun part of the dry fit. Spend a lot of time for something that you're just gonna have to redo. Yay! All right, so all of this is just a dry fit to make sure everything fits and to also make sure that I have enough pieces. So what I did is all the full pieces I put together, and then I counted how many half pieces I'll need for each side and on the ends there. And we should have just enough with maybe a little bit more, as long as I don't freaking mess it up. So we are gonna go ahead, now that we did a dry fit, it's looking pretty good. We are now going to start gluing this stuff down. The way we're going to be attaching the paint stir sticks is with liquid nail on top of the table. Shout out to the Georgia State beach volleyball team entertaining me while I do this DIY. Went ahead and allowed this to dry overnight, and now what I'm going to do is just fill all of the cracks with wood filler, let that dry. I'm going to take the bottom of the table off so I can sand it, get it ready for stain, and then we'll come back to the top and make our cuts and start making that look nice. Wood filler is done. If I missed a spot, do not tell me. But I'm gonna wait for that to dry, and while I wait for that to dry, I'm going to take the legs off so I can sand those and get them ready for stain. Pretty much just sanding, and you guys have seen us sand so many times. It's gonna be 60, 80, 120, 220, and that's pretty much it. But I'm gonna show a little bit just to, you know, prove that I'm doing it, but that's it. Alright, ended up taking the whole thing apart because there's like brackets and I wouldn't be able to stain behind it, and it just wouldn't look very professional. So took everything apart so we can sand everything and make sure everything is stained in the right places. Two coats of aged walnut. Just a quick thing here, this is what I learned. I tried to cut it faced up like this so the paint stir sticks were on top, using the circular saw, trying to find out where my edge is, and it just did a lot of chipping. I tried painter's tape, I tried different tools. So the best way to do it is flip the table upside down, use your circular saw, and you're able to see the straight line, and it works out pretty well. Now that the the wood filler is dry, I'm gonna go ahead and sand it. I'm gonna start with 80 grit sandpaper, and we'll kind of see how that looks. All right, so I ripped a 1x6 into the width that I needed for the table. So I just took how deep the table is using the old table depth with the paint sticks on top, and it was 7/8 of an inch. So I ripped that, and now I just have to cut these to the right length of the table. So now that we ripped these pieces, what we're gonna do now is we're going to attach it to the side here to give it a little bit of an edge and to hide kind of the two wood pieces here. So we're gonna put some wood glue on here. We're gonna brad nail it. This wood filler is gonna take me a while to finish. Do as I say it, not as I do. And if you were to do it the way that I found out was actually the better way to do it, you wouldn't have to wood fill as much as I am right now. So this is me trying to like hide my mistakes. You won't have to do that. So, you know, don't mind me as I fill this in for an hour. After the wood filler was done, I went and I did all of the sanding, and I did 3 coats of shellac sanding in between using 220 grit. Guys, I'm so excited because I finally get to put the table back together. It's been a week and a half, I think, of this process. Granted, doing, you know, bits and pieces at a time, but it is finally time to put it all together and see how it all comes together. Time to see the finished product. I'm so excited about how this turned out. I think it looks so much better than the before. Obviously, our DIY table has now turned into something that looks more chic and designer. Very excited about it. Hope you like it too.